Omnioculus is no longer much of a secret when it comes to the best Void Hunter exotics in the game, but the accompanying mod configurations and stat prioritizations have changed a bit since we last talked about all of this. Yes, the formerly recommended ensemble still works like a charm, but after considering recent balance patches and admittedly partaking in some late night tweaking, I've made a few changes that I highly recommend you consider adding yourself. Not only will I give you the blueprint for what exactly to run, but I'll also show you exactly what elemental armor affinities you want, which mods go in which pieces, a method for getting the perfect stat roll armor, and I'll give you a Destiny item manager link so you can copy it all over with just a few clicks. But before we get to that, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, Project Orochi, a video game apparel vendor that puts their own unique and artistic spins on video game themes and concepts for their top-of-the-line streetwear. Some of my personal favorites are their Apex Legends, God of War, and of course, Destiny 2 inspired merch. Project Orochi also hosts themes for a whole slew of other games like For Honor, Dark Souls, Ghost of Tsushima, and Sekiro. And not only do you get free shipping if you live in North America, but you can also get 10% off your order by using code Mactics at checkout. It's the perfect Christmas gift for family, friends, or maybe even yourself. After all, you've been killing it this year, why shouldn't you deserve something too? Once again, my 10% discount link and their Instagram are linked in the description. Thank you to Project Orochi for making my content possible. Now let's talk builds. So, for those who need a brief refresher course, back in the Omnioculus playbook, I recommended the following mod setup: Reaping Wellmaker, Elemental Ordnance, Bountiful Wells, Well of Utility, and Utility Kickstart. The entire idea behind this mod setup was to use your class ability and grenades to generate a positive feedback loop that continuously refunded all of your abilities. As for stats, I had recommended folks all in on mobility, discipline, and strength. I dubbed resilience and recovery to not be particularly important, since if played properly, you were invisible 99% of the time, but that was before resilience offered 40% damage resistance. Now, don't get me wrong, a practiced and experienced Omnioculus hunter will still remain invisible 99% of the time, but those who have truly mastered the build understand their cooldowns inside and out so well that they can find offensive windows to use their cooldowns in a more aggressive manner rather than the traditional defensive one. Having high resilience and therefore 40% damage resistance only furthers these capabilities. Additionally, individuals who have not yet mastered the Void Hunter can also highly benefit from resilience in the event that they mess up one of their cooldowns. So my new recommended stat prioritization is tier 10 mobility and resilience, along with tier 10 discipline and as high of a strength stat as you can get. We will talk about the best way to farm out armor to achieve those stats in a bit, because there is a very specific method that you can use to target farm this perfect armor, but first we need to talk about some of the mods that will help us achieve those stats. My new mod setup is pretty much the same as before, with a few additions. To achieve this mod setup, I am using a solar helmet, void gloves, arc chest piece, void boots, and stasis class item. On the helmet, I run a major stat mod, a finder mod, and bountiful wells. For the gloves, I've got a major stat mod, loaders and champion mods, and well of utility. On my Arc Omnioculus, I rock a major stat mod, a seasonal resist mod, which can of course be interchanged for anything you like, powerful friends, and an arc resist mod to activate the secondary component of powerful friends, which grants a bonus 20 mobility. On my boots, I've got a major stat mod, a scavenger mod, and reaping wellmaker, and finally on the class item, I rock a major stat mod, double utility kickstart, and elemental ordnance. And once again, I have a Destiny item manager link for you in the description and pinned comment that you can use to copy that template over to your Guardian with just a few clicks, assuming that you own all of the mods. No need to say thanks either, you can just hit those like and subscribe buttons instead. Now the first question you might wonder is why run an elemental ordnance mod instead of a second reaping wellmaker mod to be able to generate 3 elemental wells on every post-dodge weapon final blow. The first reason is because I can't really afford to have 3 Void Elemental Affinity armor pieces in total to be able to slot my Well of Utility and double Reaping Wellmaker. At least one of my armor pieces has to be Solar for Bountiful Wells, with another having to be Arc for Powerful Friends. Additionally, my class item must be Stasis for Utility Kickstart. The second reason is that, well, Reaping Wellmaker doesn't really seem to work properly with Bountiful Wells. Having 1 copy of Reaping Wellmaker and Bountiful Wells generates 2 Elemental Wells as expected. However, throwing on a second copy of Reaping Wellmaker still only generates 2, and the same behavior is still seen with a third copy of Reaping Wellmaker. Not sure what is going on there, but like I said, it doesn't really matter due to our elemental affinities anyway. Now, how do we get that perfect stat roll armor? The Pit of Heresy dungeon and your ghost mods are the answers to that. When the Pit of Heresy is the weekly featured dungeon, you can target farm a final boss checkpoint to get a guaranteed high stat roll piece of legendary armor every single kill. As for the Omnioculus, you can target farm this whenever the daily Legend Lost sector is dropping exotic chest pieces, which you can easily know of by looking at the daily Lost sector channel in my Discord server linked in the description. That will tell you what the Lost sector is for that day and what armor piece it is currently dropping. As for farming the armor itself, you want to put the Discipline Armor Focus mod onto your Ghost. This is because armor stats are divided into 2 brackets, where half of the stat points on an armor piece are allocated to the top 3 stats, Mobility, Recovery, and Resilience, while the other half of the stat points are allocated to the bottom 3 stats, Discipline, Intellect, and Strength. Since our ideal stat lineup includes 2 stats from the top half of the bracket and only 1 stat from the bottom half, we want to make sure as many of the points in that bottom half of the bracket go towards Discipline as possible. Meanwhile, it's okay for us to get a split in the top half since they can go between Mobility and Resilience. With the Discipline Focus mod on your Ghost, a few farm sessions with your friends, and maybe even a little bit of luck, you'll have armor pieces with stat rolls looking like this in no time. And always remember to masterwork every armor piece for a total of 60 additional stat points across the board, as well as slotting a major stat mod on every piece of armor for an additional 50 points allocated however you deem necessary. This new Omnioculus Hunter build will have you generating just as many elemental wells as before, with a significant increase to your durability without having to lose out on any dodge or grenade cooldowns. Although it might take you some time to wait for the Pit of Heresy to come around for farming in tandem with a little bit of luck when it comes to your armor drops, remember that the primary strengths of this build have and always will come from the abilities, exotic armor piece, and player skill. All of these bells and whistles are simply icing on the cake. They make this build more potent and more powerful, but by no means are they absolutely necessary. I hope y'all are still enjoying Void Omnioculus Hunter very much. However, if you are looking for another option in the Hunter arsenal to spice up your life with a little variety, I am releasing a playbook centered around the build and playstyle of the Arc Hunter on December 10th, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that. The way I like to describe the Arc Hunter build and playstyle is that if the Void Hunter is the supportive, calculated defensive class, the Arc Hunter is the balls to the walls, bloodthirsty, offensive class. You can do some pretty mind-blowing stuff with just your fist, and I can't wait to show it to you in all its glory in December. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.